Yes, another playoff bendy edition. Welcome to the Blue Review. I'm doing this from my laptop this time, so it feels a little different because usually I'm working on my laptop, and I've never really just done the stream from here. And I'm talking to you guys like I'm on a Zoom, and it feels really cool. How are we doing this morning?
What's going on? How does it feel to be Zooming?
You know what? It's good because the camera's better. I changed the decor in our building, as you can see.
Let's go Dodgers.
Yes. We're ready for a Dodgers victory today. Walker Buehler on the bump. We're going to preview the game. We're going to get into everything, maybe react still to the series, do some Severino versus Buehler, and just get into the lineup and a lot more. So before we do that, just a reminder to everyone here in the chat. Here at the Blue Review, we're presented by LAX. Our friends at Los Angeles International Airport are changing the travel experience, reducing traffic, saving guest time. And if you want to learn more, you can check it out at flyalex.com/transforminglax. So let's just get right into this because playoff Blue Review is the best Blue Review and people want to hear some Dodgers talk. Greg, Marcus, I'll start with you, Marcus. How are you feeling going into today's matchup?
I feel good. Obviously game 2 was a disappointment. You wanted to get a win and it didn't work out. Landon Knack had a rough outing and that pretty much sealed their fate. But like we talked about on the show yesterday, they battled, they made it interesting. They got close. At one point, they actually did bring the go-ahead run to the plate. Couldn't quite, figure out how to muster any more runs. But I think the fact that they were able to eventually kind of get to Mania, get into that bullpen, I think that bodes well. The fact that Buehler has had some good starts recently, I think gives you reason to be encouraged. Look, the fans at Citi Field are going to be going crazy, no doubt about it. This team has been insane. Greg, I would imagine, we may see Grimace. We may see, what does it have, like a rally pumpkin or something like that? I don't know if they bring out the Hawk Tua girl. Like all the characters are showing up for the season finale of Mets baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Marcus. I feel good. I have liked how Walker has looked the last few outings. That second inning was something that really wasn't his fault. Then he was pretty much just cruising through the rest of it. I know that Luis Severino has been hit by the Dodgers before. Mookie Betts kind of hits him harder than most. It just feels like I feel good, and I don't always like to feel good going into games because then I get disappointed, but I actually feel pretty good about this game. Who knows what's going to happen, but I like the pitching matchup better on our side than on Severino's side, even though Severino has been a really good pitcher this year.
No, I agree. And I think going, man for man, I feel better about the Dodger pitching staff than I do the Mets pitching staff. And certainly the bullpen, I feel a lot better about. And so I think for the Dodgers, if they can sort of treat this the way they did game 1, where they really were aggressive, they had a chance to jump on Singa early. They waited him out. They put pressure on him and got to that bullpen early. I think if they can do that, that bodes really, really well for the rest of this series, right? We got 3 games in a row in New York, and I think it's the team that has to rely on its bullpen the least that is going to be the most successful. If you're, same formula for the Dodgers as always, right? If you can get 5 innings, 6 innings out of your starter, only have to use your high leverage arms on the back end of the game, you're going to feel a lot better. So I think for the Dodgers, it's about getting out quickly and trying to see if you can force the Mets to make some moves.
Yeah, I mean, as it always is, it's going to be important to get out to an early jump, get some hits, get on the board really early against Severino, make him work a little bit. I'm not too sure about what type of pitcher Severino is, because I haven't seen him as much. But I assume that he's a guy that is going to be similar to. I don't think he's going to be like Mania, where he's just pounding the strike zone. I think he's going to be somebody that wants you to get that swing and miss. And if that's the case, that is not something that's where the Dodgers recently have been very, very, very good. It just has a feeling of, I think I'm with you, that I feel better about this pitching staff, and I feel better about our bullpen too. We haven't seen any of our high leverage guys at all yet, because you haven't had to use them, where we've seen their high leverage guys. We've seen Peterson, we've seen Diaz, and I don't like to give him too much credit, but John Smoltz has actually been very good in so far. I thought he hasn't been bothered me at all, which is weird because usually he hates the Dodgers very, very, very much. But he made
here's
it.
The thing. Here's the thing. The reason he hasn't annoyed you about the Dodgers because the Dodgers are playing small ball. They're doing the thing that he likes, like
No,
they're bunting. So that makes him happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, he said something about the bullpen that I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The bullpen is just like a regular starter. When you see a regular starter the third time through the lineup, the numbers skyrocket. If you see their high leverage relievers 3 times, the numbers are going to skyrocket because they've seen them enough times at that point. So that's why I really thought that Dave did a great job in the last series because he was holding off on using those high leverage guys before he needed to. And why didn't mind that he didn't do it in game 2. Why get a look at our high leverage guys in game that you're down in? I thought it was a smart move.
No, I agree. I really think, the score sort of dictated what they did with that. I know you talked yesterday. You were a little bit surprised, I guess, that they brought Henriquez back for another inning. He ends up giving up the run. But, I think that was part of it being at that point a 6-3 game, not wanting to go out and burn, whatever, Trinan, Kopech, Hudson, whomever it was going to be, Phillips, any of those guys. So now you got them. First off, you have them very, very rested, right? Because they haven't pitched since game 5 of the Padres series. Did any of those pitch in game 1? I don't remember anyone pitching in game 1. No, so
it was Flaherty, and then they went Hudson, and I think wasn't it
Kasparius. Yeah, you're right, to close it out. So so a lot of those high leverage arms haven't pitched in a while. They're going to be super rested, and it's going to be the first time that the Mets are seeing it. I would presume they are going to pitch today. I would be very surprised if you don't see any of those guys today, but it does put the Dodgers in a very advantageous situation. You would have loved to get the bullpen game, right? You would have loved to win that game, but I think that was always sort of the plan, the idea that even if you didn't, you come back with all of your best arms ready to go for game 3.
Yeah, all of them come back. And you might not see them if somehow, some way, Walker Buehler reaches into the deep, deep past and says, I'm going to go 9 full, 9 shutout, which is not going to happen. But that would be fantastic if he did. And that's the only way I would be not to see the high leverage guys. I mean, even if they're losing or if they're down big or whatever happens to be, I think, or up big, I think you still see those guys to get them a little bit of work, which is also kind of scary at the same time because you have 3 games in a row. You don't want to overuse them and still want them to get out there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting the way they use the bullpen. I also think this game is super important for how you're going to work out the rest of the series. If you can win this one and take 2 of 3, even if you take the first 2, you probably don't pitch. I don't know. Maybe what do you think? Do you pitch Flaherty in game 5? If they win the first 2, or do you try to save them for a possible game 6?
That's a good question. I'm trying to do the math in my head of how it would work out, right? Because we know for sure we're going to get Buehler tonight, Yamamoto tomorrow. I would think
game 5 is interesting.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to go Flaherty because it may be dictated by what happens the next couple of nights and how much you have to dig into that bullpen. Because, I don't know. I think if I'm Dave Roberts, I would rather go with Flaherty in game 5 with a chance to close it out. I don't necessarily want to mess around with the idea of coming back to Los Angeles and then, your pitching staff is sort of in disarray. If you have a chance to close this thing out in 5 in New York, I think you go with Flaherty, who gives you the best shot to do that.
Yeah. What if they win 1, lose 1? And then you have to decide on that game.
Yeah, because then you're for sure going to a game 6 at that point. I'm still inclined to go with Flaherty just because I think even in that scenario, it probably means you've had to use your bullpen a little bit. So I don't know that you want to expose all those guys again to another 9-inning game against that Mets lineup. So I think one way or another, you're probably going with Flaherty. And obviously, if somehow they lose both these games, then it's all hands on deck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm totally with you. I'm just asking the questions because it's going to be, those are decisions that are going to have to be made. Because I think that no matter what, you're losing Yamamoto. He's not going to pitch in game 6 or game 7. It's not possible. You can get Walker back for game 6 based off of the day that he plays here, or hold him and you can get him back for game 7. But you're going to lose Yamamoto. You're going to lose Flaherty for both 6 and 7. So that's when you're going to start having to kind of mess around with, if you're up 3-2 in the series, do you bring back Walker on a little bit of short rest in 6? I mean, there's just so many different questions about what they're going to do, but we'll take it one game at a time.
Yeah, sure. I will say the other question, though, since we're on this, though, what do you do with Landon Knack? I mean, do you keep him sort of in that I don't know what's the role behind the opener. I don't know if that role has an actual name, the number 2 guy or something, or do you give him the chance
Bulk
to
inning
start? Yeah, or do you give him the chance to start, hoping that maybe his mindset's a little bit different, knowing he's going out there clean from the first inning?
It's really going to be, it's short leash type stuff. And the thing that
Yeah.
kind of concerned me, and I don't know if it was what it actually was, he just didn't have it. But Dave Roberts, when Knack was on the mound, he was saying, and he was doing that interview, he's like, yeah, Walker, Landon's just he's gassed. He only pitched 1 inning.
Right.
He's stretched out. He's a starter, and he's gassed over the first inning. I think that was just an excuse to get him, out of the game. Like, all right, he doesn't got it. We're gonna take it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was physically gassed, but I think mentally and emotionally he was probably gassed by what went on there.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw 50 something pitches in a couple of innings. It was obviously not a good opportunity for him.
I think he only pitched 1 inning, didn't he? He pitched
no,
one.
he got into the second inning. Yeah, he went 2.
Yeah. That was enough. That was enough.
Because he didn't give up any runs in that second inning.
That's right.
It was still a struggle,
Yeah.
So.
You want to get into Luis Severino versus the Dodgers, because that's a big portion of all this. So Severino has only faced the Dodgers twice. So looking it up, only faced the Dodgers twice. He was with the Yankees when he did. So he faced him in 2016, and he pitched 2 innings, and he gave up nothing, gave up a hit, and that was it. In 2023, so last year in June, he lost and he got blasted. He gave up 7 runs in 4 innings, 9 hits in 4 innings, and just got destroyed. So the guys that actually hit him, where is this? Mookie Betts, great against him. We said the same thing about Mania, but either way, Mookie Betts is 11 for 34, 4 doubles, a home run, and 4 RBIs. He does have 7 strikeouts, but he does have 6 walks also. So he gets on base a lot against them and has a high OPS. You always want to know about Shohei. Shohei is 3 for 6 with a double, a home run, an RBI. He's walked twice and struck out once, so he does well against him. Max Muncy, very, very small sample size. He's 1 for 2 with a home run and a strikeout. So he's done both of the things. Teo is 2 for 11 with a double and a home run, 3 RBIs, but 6 strikeouts. Freddie is 0 for 5. Edmonds 1 for 2, and that's basically Will Smith is 1 for 3. But for the most part, the ones that you want hitting him are hitting him.
Yeah. Interesting that Freddie would have that many at bats against him.
5.
I mean, I guess interleague play and that sort of thing being a thing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, obviously the guys at the top of the order are going to be important, right? I mean, the story of Shohei not hitting with no one on base it's becoming a story. It's not one that I'm super concerned about because one, he's hitting when it really matters with guys in scoring position, and also at some point I think he's just going to break out of this whole thing. So maybe that thing happens tonight. But we keep talking about the first inning, and I think the first inning is going to be important again tonight because the Dodgers they get a chance to score first, and if they can get in there, get some pressure on Severino, not only to make the Mets a little bit nervous, but also to give Buehler a bit of an advantage, right? It would be wonderful if you're giving the ball to Walker Buehler and he's got a lead already going to the bottom of the first. So very curious to see how Shohei, Mookie, presumably Freddie's going to be in the third slot again tonight, how those guys kind of get things started.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. And I think I saw something where in the chat, just for the last thing, that was the first lefty. Who was this? This was Butterfly Lover. Mania was the first lefty starter they faced this postseason. Yeah, they did. They didn't face a lefty starter with the Padres,
San Diego.
Did they?
No, they faced.
No, they said they saw Cease, King, Darvish, and then they went to back to Cease. That's right. So no, very true, and that it's totally worked against this team. That it got you Gavin Lux out of the lineup, who had was making things happen. Is obviously completely held Shohei off. But to continue on with Shohei, I'm not worried about Shohei at all. I mean, now you're going to have it. Now you're going back to a righty starter. You feel if there's anybody in the entire world I'm not worried about, it's Shohei Ohtani. I mean, a Dodgers insider put out a story yesterday about saying how Like they got through the guys that he doesn't hit well. They got
Yeah.
through Darvish, they got through Tanner Scott, and they got through. We won't see Manaea again until probably Game 6. So he's going to break out, and it's going to be. Is it really even breaking out when he's like 6 for 8 with runners on base?
That's the thing. I mean, like again, when they have needed him to come through, he has come through in a big way. Sure, we'd love for him to go every day to be a 3 for 5, 3 RBI, 2 runs scored sort of game. Sure, that would be amazing. That's not reality. But over the course of the season, not just the course of his career, just seeing what he has done. Remember this year, he went on a stretch where he went 5 or 6 games without an RBI, and people were like, "What's wrong with Shohei?" Like there was like this mild panic. Like this sort of feels like that again, right? It's like this one small thing that he has not done well for the last week or so. Has people concerned. I'm with you. Like he's the last person in that clubhouse I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think the stat was that he was 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position to start the season. It was something along those lines, and now he's 0 for 19 with nobody on base. Want to bet he gets on base with nobody? He does something with nobody on base. Right. I just don't feel like it's going to change anything. But we'll see. I also want to. I see a lot in the chat. We're talking about like moving Smith down, moving Edman up, and those types of things. I actually want to go back to the lineup that they had, that they were using for every other game. They changed the lineup around for Game 2, and obviously it didn't work. Even when they made that change, they put Pages in the 9 spot and Edman was in the 6. Edman was getting hits, but at the same time, I want those at the bottom. So for me, I want to go back to exactly what they were doing against the Padres. That same lineup that you saw day in and day out. And I'm pretty sure it was Muncy was in the 5 spot. Mm-hmm. Smith was in the 6 spot. Then it was, I think, Lux, Kike, Edman. I think that is the lineup that you want on a daily basis. That one seems to be make the most sense to me.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think, what are we going to get today, right? I mean, obviously we know the top 4 of Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Teo. Presumably, we get Muncy in the 5, Smith at the 6. I would not mind. Well, here we go. Are we going? Is it going to be Pages or will it be Kike? Because with a right-hander, we know Lux is going to be in the lineup. So you put Kike in the 7th slot, Lux at 8,
7 or 8,
9.
Yeah. As long as Edman's at the 9, I like Edman in the 9 spot because that seems like the best spot for him too, especially because he does things that turn the lineup over. He gets on base. He had 3 hits in Game 2, and I think he's batting somewhere around 300 for the series so far, or for the playoffs. It's close to it. It might not be right there, but he also bunts. So if there's guys on base, he's not going to hit into a double play. He's not going to do the thing that doesn't allow Shohei to come up with runners in scoring position. That's why I like him down there. He's a smart baseball player. You can he switch hits. He got 3 hits from the left side when everyone's like, he can't hit from the left side. He got 3 hits the other day from the left side. So and now he's gonna be on the right side where he's supposed to be, where he's usually better. I think it makes more sense. It'd be on the left actually, but either way, he can.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think it all works because especially Edman, in a series where bunting has somehow come back into fashion, he's their best bunter. He sort of works like a leadoff hitter at the bottom of the lineup, more of that kind of that traditional old school, like I'm just gonna get on base any kind of way, even if I have to pound one into the ground and just try to beat it out. And he's the lost art of him switch hitting too means that you can't necessarily game plan for the bottom of the lineup, right? You're not going to make a pitching change and get Edman out of the game because he'll just turn around and hit from the other side.
Right. Yeah. So that's the lineup that I want to see, and I just really love what Edman has been doing. It was such a big pickup. We talked about it a little bit when it actually happened when they brought him over from the Cardinals. Oh, he hasn't played at all. What's he going to look like? He's going to be the center fielder? Is he going to be a shortstop? And it's just worked out. All he's done is just get on base and be the type of player that you need that can, like we said, turn the lineup over. It's so important. So I really love what we're seeing out of Edman. And even the bottom of the lineup has been good. That's where the hits are coming from. Yeah. Edman had 3 hits. Muncy had a home run from the bottom. I know it didn't mean anything, but still, he has a couple of home runs. The power is there. So I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, no, I do too. And, even as frustrating as Game 2 was, let's remember, pretty much all the damage happened in the first 2 innings. Like they got that last run late in the 9th. But all of the damage was in the first 2 innings. After that, the pitching staff buckled down. Like, yeah, they had a few rocky innings. They had some high stress innings, but they kept the Mets off the board. They gave the offense a chance to come back. And so as long as they can go back and sort of keep the Mets down, this offense, at some point is going to wake up against this Mets pitching staff. So, I think as disappointing as it was, and I know there was a lot of frustration. I think the fans were a little frustrated in the moment. I think now that we've had a couple days to, exhale and sip our coffee and really think about this again, I think you got to be feeling pretty positive about what could happen tonight.
Yeah, no, I think everybody pretty much is feeling positive. And so let's look at one last thing before we get out of here. You want to do Buehler versus the Mets? I got those ones. Stat Muse and bat first pitch is the things that I want. So Buehler is 1-1 with an ERA of 5, 28 strikeouts and 5 appearances. The last time he faced them, however, this is just against the Mets. He hasn't faced them since 2022 when he got lit up, but he only pitched 2 1/3 inning. But he's also had a lot of good outings against them. In 2019, 21, 21, he gave up 2 runs, and also he's gone over 7 twice. So, pretty good there. And then against the hitters,
I'm looking at this. Like, Pete Alonso seems to give him problems. Alonso, 5 of 14 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, just 1 strikeout. Lindor just 1 for 2 against him.
But that one
was a home run. Jesse Winker 4 of 15 with a couple of home runs. So, Buehler's giving up the long ball, but we know that about him. Anyway, that is a thing we know about Buehler. It just seems like sort of mixed results. Iglesias 4 for 10, Brandon Nimmo 2 for 12, actually 2 for 10. Make that for Nimmo. So kind of mixed results for the Mets, I think.
Yeah, but I also think that he's a different pitcher than he was. Just like Sean Manaea is a different pitcher than when we saw him before. Walker Buehler is a different pitcher now. He's not the guy that's just rearing back and trying to blow one past you. He's actually trying to beat you. He's focused on the pitches that he's throwing on, and he's throwing them to spots, and he's trying to get you out with off-speed stuff more than he is just trying, here's my 4-seam fastball, and I'm going to just blow it by you. That's not there anymore. Now he uses it to offset other pitches, but it's really that curveball has been fantastic. It's been one that's landing consistently and keeping guys off balance. And also I think pretty sure it's a cutter that he's throwing that's kind of an out pitch for him as well. Yeah. It's working pretty well. So I think I really feel good about Buehler just based off what he did against the Padres, because like we said, it wasn't his fault, and he was mowing them down.
Yeah. Besides
that second inning.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, that's a weird statement. Like, that's not a thing we were going to say about Walker Buehler in July. To be like, I feel great about Walker Buehler in a playoff game. We were not there in July, so I think it shows how much he has progressed since that time. I mean, kudos to him and the pitching staff for kind of getting him together. But he's made big steps forward, and now he's got a chance to put him up 2-1 in the NLCS.
I mean, if he looks like anywhere close to the old Walker Buehler and just can get you through 6, possibly gets you towards 7, because he can keep his pitch count down and he can go deep. He can go up into the hundreds. So if he can get you deep into this game, that's going to be really, really big for this team and for him and his confidence moving on to possibly having to pitch in Game 6 or Game 7. So if that's the case and he can show that he's that type of pitcher again, that big game Walker Buehler pitcher that we knew and loved, it will go a long way for everyone.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, LAX. Parker, if you want to take it away, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. And hey, we got a 5:00 game, so we will be excited to watch this. I might just stay in studio just so I can be here watching it, because the vibes are always good here. So, of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 to 8:55, reacting to Buehler's performance and hopefully a Dodgers W. So stay here, but also stay here right now for Travis and DeMarco. Some good stuff going on, some more Dodgers talk. So we'll be here on ESPN LA for the Blue Review. Greg Bergman, Marcus Grant, I'm Parker Bell, and we will be back mañana. Thank you, and see you. Cue the music, Parker.
Bye.